All right. Anthony, you told me before, whenever I had a video to make as a comment or something, to go ahead and post it up as a response to you, so I'm going to do that now. Um, on the issue of the Shinobi Gi, uh, I have to agree with you. A lot of times you see a lot of fat, middle aged guys trying to role play stuff. This has to do with a psychological need for fulfillment. A lot of these guys, they never really did anything to make them feel masculine or manly. They had a lot of things handed to them in life. Uh, so they've never really had to work for anything on their own or anything else. And going out and playing ninja on the weekend or whatever, or taking a class, and claiming they're a ninja, yeah, it is kind of lame, but they do it. It has to do with the whole self fulfillment issue. You see this a lot with paintball, actually. You also see this a lot with survivalist. And I have to bring up the survivalist issue because I kind of fall in that category of being a survivalist. So a lot of times you see these fat guys who go to ranges. They show up in full tactical gear for a pistol range, and they look like they're trying to play SWAT team. And basically, all it comes down to is they run around and call themselves men of action, and they're prepared, and they're waiting for the zombie apocalypse and everything else. Uh, but they do this out of a psychological need to prove their masculinity, and you see this a lot with the ninja thing of having, you know, a lot of younger guys trying to prove their manhood or their masculinity by running off and trying to dress all military style. You see this a lot. If you look at reality-based self-defense or self-defense combatives, you'll see a lot of fat middle-aged guys running around in BDUs who've never been in the military, but their goal was to try that self-fulfilling thing of being the badass they wish they were. Um, it's sad. It's pathetic. I know it is. I agree with you 100%. But the problem we have in the Jiu-Jitsu community is, well, exactly that. Being a ninja is kind of like being, special forces or training with some special forces guy or some SWAT guy or something else. Uh, People expect you, it's badass by proxy, because this guy or this guy has done this, or you train in this system who is used by this guy, and this guy who invented this system was a badass. You therefore have to be a badass because you've learned his system. If you're a ninja, then if you train with people who are ninjas, then of course the ninja is the archetypical badass. They're stealthy. They're masters of martial arts. They're survival experts. They're experts on military intelligence. They're like commandos. All this other stuff. So therefore, because you've trained in this, you must be a badass. It's ridiculous. I know. I understand that. On the issue of the Shinobi Gi, however, it's just workout clothes. I have no issue with someone using a Shinobi Gi. In fact, in all reality, as has been explained by yourself and has been explained to me by several others, including Ashida Kim, the Shinobi Gi draws its imagery from the Kabuki theater. It came about in the Edo period. The Kabuki Stage Handlers dressed all in black because you weren't supposed to see them. They were invisible. So a lot of the times the idea of the Shinobi Gi exists simply as that. They're supposed to be invisible. Now, as spies, presumably assassins, the way they've been portrayed in the media, uh, yeah, the invisible Kabuki theater outfit kind of fits. When we're looking at it in the more historical context, when you're talking about, say, something like Ninpei or Shinobi soldiers, you're talking about scouts. You don't ever see a scout. The scout finds you, and then he runs back and reports your location to the guys in charge. The idea that the shinobi were commandos or scouts, that they deployed behind enemy lines or within enemy bases, and they took out generals and stuff like that. That's more of a really, to be honest with you, it's more of a military commando style strike than some kind of ninja assassin. But in the modern context, people see that as an assassination. Um, the and I understand where you're coming from because that's kind of the issue. The uniform itself isn't traditional, and people need to understand that. It's no more traditional than the karate gi or the judo gi is a traditional kimono, or even the aikido gi. But at the same time, they aren't. It's not something that is an issue or should be an issue, as long as people understand that you're wearing workout clothes. Now, a scout in the field would have whatever uniform. The military has camouflage uniform, so it makes sense for a ninpei as a scout to have some sort of camouflage uniform to allow him to see the enemy and the enemy not see him. And all this comes down to this military concept of what we call cover, concealment, and camouflage. Basically, cover is anything that prevents the enemy from seeing you and having contact with you, like a wall. Concealment is anything which hides you but doesn't prevent contact, and camouflage is anything that allows you to go unnoticed. So I kind of agree with you in some ways, but at the same time, I think the understanding that a person trying to apply stealth would use a type of clothing which will allow them to blend into their environment, whether it's a camouflage shinobi gi in the forest, a solid white shinobi gi in snow, or the flat black, almost charcoal gray shinobi gi at night, would be no different than someone wearing, say, BDUs or digicam or some other sort of camouflage attire to blend them into their environment. That being said, as I understand it, and as I've been taught, 90% of the work that the shinobi did, they did while in disguise. So whether or not they had this camouflage gear for being scouts or commandos or however you want to look at it, a lot of what they did was in normal street clothes. So I think what we have is this kind of impasse. I somewhat agree with you on the shinobi outfit, but at the same time, I kind of disagree with you. I think it's good for having workout clothes as long as someone explains that that's what you're dealing with is workout clothes, not something that's, 17th century, the ninja wore this, or a ninja did this, or whatever. The problem you have, like I said, comes down to the psychological need for a lot of people. They're either young or they're middle-aged guys who spent all their time in school and did all the right things and whatever else to become, successful middle-class people, and now they feel they need something to prove their manhood or test their manhood or something to define their masculinity, and it's kind of sad and pathetic, but that's kind of what you're stuck with. As long as the idea that the shinobi gi is workout clothes and isn't some sort of traditional garb is addressed in the school, then I think they're fine. I'm pretty sure a lot of people agree with me on this. Keep up the great work, by the way, and peace out.